Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. And well, Krishna Krishna. So Kumkum Didi, do you have some notes left over from last week? I didn't write anything. Sometimes last time, sometimes I keep a note of things we haven't done or should be doing.
I did not write any notes. Do you have a particular topic I might have written it on?
Maybe Kumkum, maybe I should be saying Praneshwari, actually, sorry.
That's okay.
Because I was reading something else, looking at my notes at the same time as talking. So multitasking isn't always the best thing. But Kumkum Didi, you are with us, our senior mostest. And I just wonder, maybe after a couple of minutes, we can hear from you just a little bit about yesterday. You were there, were you, after, I mean, during or after the disappearance of Sureshwarī?
I was not there.
No.
It was about midnight, a little before midnight.
It was, yeah.
I got to see her on Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
And you couldn't wish for her to remain, seeing her like that when she only wants to serve.
She's serving.
Yes.
Yes, Rupanuga, Prabhu, locked down in the great down under. Hare Krishna in the evening, perhaps. Krishna. So a quick question to Praneshwari Didi. Was this something that we had in the pending train?
No, Maharaj, no. You asked if we could have something in our pockets as usual, and their pockets are always full, so you can ask any of them.
That we can do. So let us start. So I don't know, Rupanuga Prabhu, just to let you know, Rupanuga, also Seva Rupa, the two of you, Nirupama, yes, 1, 2, 3 of you, okay, may not have heard so much about one lady devotee passed away. Well, yesterday means Friday, late at night, just before midnight, in California, in our SoCal temple. But she was very, Jai Bhagavan Prabhu, but actually, first of all, as we start, we are 5 minutes in, so one by one devotees have come. Let us start with obeisances to each other, and then let us continue. Radha Sundari is here, maybe Amiya Sindhu Prabhu also. So to each of us, let's give obeisances first, and then we'll continue. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And Jai Shila Gurudev, Shila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Shila Guru Maharaj, Shila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar, Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, and Jai Bhagavan, Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Shri Rupanuga Guru Vaga ki Jai, Vishwarani Shila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai, and all the assembled devotees ki Jai. And from our back to basics, how about Om Agyan Timarandasya to Guru, and Namo Mahavaranyaya to Mahaprabhu, and then Panchatattva and Hare Krishna. And we can all say together, maybe with the microphones off, because it is a bit funky when they all come in at a different time. But we can see each other's mouths, even Rukmini, behind the turned off microphone, we can see if you're chanting. So Om Agyan, then Namo Maha, Panchatattva and Hare Krishna. So slowly together. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvije Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shri Vas Adi Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All right. Jai Shri Guru Vaga ki jai, Jai Shri Man Mahaprabhu ki jai, Jai Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. So we've got Anukul Chandra Prabhu with us that I can see on Facebook. So very welcome. And I was just going to give a little introduction to those who don't know to Sureshwarī Didi, who passed away Friday night in California, just before midnight, in the temple of Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhavika Giridhariju, the deities which are there. With Praneshwari. Praneshwari has traveled to the SoCal ashram to remind us of the beautiful ashram. So I don't know, of course, I don't know everything about her, but I do know that she's been, oh, actually, Kumkum Didi, you are the best to give us an intro. Please, you give us a sweet introduction to Sureshwarī, because I know some things, but obviously, I think you will know the bestest of all, being the senior mostest.
Sureshwarī Didi is actually senior to me. I first met her early 70s when we were in the Dallas temple, and they already had 2 children who were old enough to come to school. And so they traveled there to bring their 2 older children. And her husband, Kapi, they were heading up the Washington, D.C. temple for Srila Prabhupada. And everyone knew she was actually the real head. Wherever she was always the person who was making everything happen and never considering, not feigning humility, but never considering that there would be any recognition, just always going after much service, which meant taking care of as many devotees as she could. And outside the devotee community, if she could get someone to come, then she would tolerate anything. She would do anything to get them to come. And it was very natural to her. It wasn't something she was supposed to do. This was her intent. 24 hours a day. And later we knew her in Los Angeles temple. And there was after Srila Prabhupada departed, and unfortunately we were too bereft. And there were a few people who got the grace of hearing from Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj. And so her husband and she, who had a home about 10 miles from the temple, they started these get-togethers, which were called Sridhar Nectar. And he even had little cards printed up that he could easily hand out to try to help the community find what it was that we were being gifted from Srila Guru Maharaj. And so there would be loads and loads of prasadam all the time, all cooked by her. And she just wanted as many people as possible to pile in and hear these things. Later, her family as well as ours ended up moving about halfway up between Los Angeles and San Francisco into a mountain community where we were able to continue talking about Srila Guru Maharaj and also traveling to his Srila Goswami Maharaj's temple in San Jose. They moved to San Jose before we did, and we later joined up there. And then eventually that meant she was in SoCal ashram. Her husband passed away a very long time ago. And then after taking care of all of that, then she was in SoCal ashram for many years now, at least 25. This was her home. And again, she would just take care of people all the time. And she would even bring her children and grandchildren and extended family. And her philosophy was always she had an Irish Catholic background, which had a very good kind of cynicism to it about life and the brevity of life. And she didn't at all mind if she were going to pass away. Years ago, she suffered from heart attacks and strokes. And it happened so often, we were very fearful that she would depart at that time, and she would just laugh it off. And her attitude was that she was completely in Krishna's hands, and she had service to Srila Prabhupada from such an early age, more than 50 years ago. And then, of course, Srila Guru Maharaj, and then Srila Govinda Maharaj, and then Janardhan Maharaj was taking such good care of her. They were very close to each other. One of the best things I ever heard her say, I went down to visit SoCal Ashram and greeted her in the kitchen. And she was standing in the middle of at least 24 cardboard boxes of boga, all kinds of vegetables. Some of it didn't even look like it was very high quality or usable, but it had all been donated. And she just said, it seems to be my karma that I'm always surrounded by boga. And instead of seeing that as a burden and she had to get rid of that or go through it, what was good, what was bad, maybe other people would help her and maybe not. That wasn't her concern. But she was just talking about what all she could make out of it so that all of the devotees would get loads and loads of prasadam. And then as her physical health declined, she started needing to be off her feet more. And so other people would help, but they all got that same love from her for themselves, as well as her love for everyone else. So they became enthusiastic to help as well, just because this is the way Sureshwarī would do it. So physically a little bit older than the rest of us, and seen as a grandmother, more for her attitude, that quintessential loving grandmother that everyone wishes they had, except her main purpose was chant Hare Krishna. Don't worry about anything else. Just keep chanting Hare Krishna and serve, especially in the kitchen. So I've been reminded she's the perfect example of Bhagavad Gita 2:22. If the body has become useless, then you give it away, you give it up. There was no way she could return to service after this last couple of weeks because the illness was just too much. And she didn't want to have to be in the body that wasn't of any use. So it was quite obvious to everyone. And as sad as it was for us, and is going to be as we adapt to the fact that she did actually leave, we wish, she would live to be at least 100, but now we have to adjust to the fact that she's not. But it just seems like that's her gift to us. It will always be like that. Senior most lady departing most auspicious way. So many devotees were there. All the SoCal devotees gathered at midnight and their lordships open. I don't know if it was an artik or kirtan, but beautiful offering, bringing her in front of them, beautifully dressed with garlands. And so the family is satisfied as well. Just full faith in our gurus. This is what happens. It can be inauspicious, but it can be auspicious too, just like her.
Jai. Wonderful.
Mm.
Hare Krishna. And I
Yeah.
also, I know her from India. She did come to India.
Yeah.
And in the at the earlier time, later, I don't remember the last time I saw her in India, but I remember my last times, I mean, many times seeing her in the kitchen. Well, I should say in the Sokel temple, but I have to say that her and the kitchen are kind of indelibly together. And indeed, Ramai Prabhu, the Pujari, and her and the kitchen, they're very much there together. The team that kept everything going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we do have our wonderful story. We do have our wonderful stories of the way that she looked after the devotees, and when we were traveling, going anywhere, about really she looked after the devotees with amazing sandwiches and preparations and everything. Anyhow, as you say, we're all coming and going. When the body is useless, it's time to move on. And she, by herself, she wanted to come to the temple, isn't it? And come away from the hospital environment to be with the devotees.
Yeah.
And she passed away there with the devotees, and the devotees chanting around her, we heard.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. So, back to basics. We are not our body. Our body is our vehicle. It is the human body is our suitable vehicle for Krishna consciousness. Let us take inspiration. Let us understand that we are also temporary and sure to be going through the same situation. It means leaving the body. We do not know whether we'll have the opportunity of such an auspicious place and association, etc. But we all need to be detached from the body, except for its usefulness in service and usefulness in coming to straighten our hearts out, clean our hearts to do the right thing. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, please read the chat. There is a question from Chintamani Didi.
What is the, so Chintamani speaking, what is the proper way to grieve for conditioned souls? I mean, I am conditioned soul and I am wanting to know about grief for ordinary person's death versus grief for the Vaishnava. Yes, so, well, of course, we've been hearing just now about grief for the Vaishnava, which it's our separation, our loss. It is a time actually of happiness, in the sense of when we see so much suffering, the difficulty of the body, then okay, now relieved from all of those things and going onwards and upwards. We are faithful and we know that this process is the process of the upward journey. And so for the Vaishnavas, we are seeing in one way, and for the non-Vaishnavas, it depends on who they are. In the sense of, if they are the parents of a devotee or relative of a devotee, then we're always saying to the devotee, so they're asking regular question, what is the best thing for me to do for my departed mother, but departed father, departed brother, whatever it is, their relative, they've got some attachment, natural affection and attachment for family members, or to maybe it is a friend, somebody who we knew. Then what is the best thing we can do for them? It is not so much the mantras and this, that, and the other in a Shraddha ceremony, not a Shraddha ceremony, a Shraddha ceremony. Then it's not so much those mantras. And in fact, those mantras we may or may not speak properly, pronounce properly, may or may not be correct. It is that we ourselves will, as family members, will try to be a better and better devotee because when there is a family member, someone who is a devotee, the whole family benefits. This is not a selfish process. It is the process of purification of oneself and prayer for the visa and entrance to the upper plane. But it is giving benefit to the whole of the family. So we are going to the trees, taking fruits from, picking the fruits from the trees and telling the trees when we pick the fruit, we are going to give your fruit to Krishna. Then we know that the tree is happy. Everybody is happy. The tree is happy to give the fruit's happy to be given, etc., etc. And so we are the fruit of our family tree. There we are, fruit of the family. We are the fruit of our family tree. So we need to pick ourselves from the tree and offer ourselves to the Lord. And as the fruit of our family, really try to be the better and bestest, as we've been using this kind of term this morning, better and better at being a devotee. This is the best thing we can do for our family members. And the actual ceremony, which takes place traditionally 10 days after for regular people, then it's 10 days after, means the first day after is the first day after. The second day, in other words, if somebody passes away on the first, then the second is day 1, third is day 2, etc. So on the 10th day afterwards, then some offering is made of Mahaprasadam from the deity to that person. And that how is done is with a picture, and preferably somebody who knows them, who calls them to come and be seated there, make a little asan, etc., etc. And so preferably a person who knows them, to call them to come and to please honor this Mahaprasadam. And accompanying that is reading from Bhagavad Gita and some simple offering of, again, prasadam, incense, etc. But Gurudev told that actually the most powerful thing, the effectiveness of that ceremony will be the Vaishnava Seva. So the Mahaprasad goes to the departed soul that's come directly off the plate, but the prasadam, it is for satisfying the Vaishnavas. So if Vaishnavas will come and be satisfied, or you can distribute to the Vaishnavas, then this will be the most efficacy, the most efficient result will come by this. So for the non-devotees, you can say we are trying to give some benefit for the soul in its intermediary position, some help for that person. And for the devotees, of course, we cannot say every devotee suddenly gone to Goloka Vrindavan, and Gurudev and Guru Maharaj both were asked these questions. And many times I can say I've been with Gurudev when he's been asked, where did this devotee go? Where did that devotee go? And Gurudev, in some cases, immediately saying, last birth. But in many cases, Gurudev is saying, we cannot say exactly where the soul has gone, what is coming to take the first priority. But when a devotee is sincere and is faithful and fixed on the path, then Gurudev, he is happily making a festival in remembrance of the Vaishnava, but not necessarily with the mood of, oh, we are going to benefit the Vaishnava. It's our benefit to remember the sincere souls. So there we are. So Vaishnava Seva, and accompanied by the holy name, prasadam, satisfying the devotees with the prasadam. This will benefit, you're saying, the non-devotee way. And by the way, okay, what's proper way? Oh, to grieve. Oh yes, you can grieve. Krishna grieved. I mean, grieving normally means, oh, I'm very sad, passed away. I mean, Krishna grieved when some of his family members passed away. I'm trying to think of one of the specific ones, but it's certainly there in the Krishna book. That, oh, Krishna, like a regular person, he grieved, but then everyone pulled themselves together and then they did something. Maybe someone can give me an exact example from the Krishna book, but certainly this kind of example is given. We are not hard-hearted, stone-hearted, but just to grieve is not going to be helpful in the long run. It's our attachment, again, the extended bodily attachment, the attachment to our friends, etc. So we need to be attached to Guru and Gauranga, attached to the holy name, this way attached, and give what benefit we can. And as by the grace of the devotees, I made a little prayer to Sureshwarī a short while before she passed away. I mean, we didn't know what day she's going to pass away, but a little message that may she kindly look upon us who are still here in our bodies. And this is the situation with such great souls. And I try to think of Gurudev in all of these, like well, all circumstances, but in individual circumstances. And I can hear Gurudev's words like this with Sureshwarī, for sure. Hare Krishna.
And your message was listened by her, Sanatani Didi.
Yes, very, very indebted and kind, the devotees there, to be so faithful in their service of passing on messages, etc. Very nice. And I received that message that she'd heard it just a few hours before she passed away. So of course we feel happy that we're able to somehow speak to her, even at a distance, in this way. Birth and death, old age and disease, happiness and sadness, challenges of life, but challenges of living. And this is why we also point out, really, we have challenges at every step of the way. And I mean, incidentally, it is incidentally, we can say, at about that same time, another devotee, I got the news of another, it's a devotee's father, passed away. As we are receiving the news, and Janardhan Maharaj called me, and then we shared the news with some of with our devotee friends, and we're just sharing news. As I was sending that out, very short while later, then pop into the inbox comes another message that one of our devotees' fathers, who's not very old, the devotee himself is 18 years old, Rasananda Prabhu of Sochi, young, we can say our young Rasananda, his father, who is not very old, he sent a picture, he passed away from COVID. So, COVID is there, it's still circling the globe in some way or another. So that is two people we know on the same day, but we have to admit from our circle of the devotees we know, we can say every month, twice a month, twice a day, as we heard in that situation, the news of the world really is in front of us. Devotees passing away. And then in other places, we have devotees who are about to give birth. So there we are. At the same time, one devotee is just preparing to deliver. At the same time, another devotee is preparing to leave from the world simultaneously. All this is going on before our eyes. And again comes back with the threats of mortality that have been going around the world, everyone seeing how risky the world is. again, we would think that more people would take seriously the search for reality. And when we come to start that search, then Krishna will give assistance. And the fortunate, those somehow who got some good fortune, the Bhagyavanaji, then they will come to the association of the scriptures and the sadhus. Oh, here's a quotation, Sureshwarī Didi to everyone. From Guru Maharaj, heart and halo, the sweetest struggle. Aha. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na Shochati na Kankshati Savasarveshu Bhuteshu Mat Bhakting Labate Para. Bhagavad Gita 1854. The spotlessly pure-hearted and self-satisfied soul who has attained to his conscious divine nature neither grieves nor craves for anything. Seeing all beings equally in the conception of my supreme energy, he gradually achieves supreme devotion, prema bhakti, unto me. Hare Krishna. And elsewhere in Gita, for one who is born, death is certain. For one who has died, birth is certain. And Bhagavad Gita, it is there for our whole life. Hare Krishna. And as we have certainly said here previously, not to wait for a soul to depart before we start appreciating and seeing their glories. We must see, learn to see the glories everywhere of every devotee, no matter what other things are there. Also Bhagavad Gita, our handbook so much, saying one who declares that my devotee, who may be looking like he's doing wrong, but is a devotee. He's a devotee, no matter what the outside wrong things are happening. Then Krishna will give favor to that person who declares it to him. And Madhava Prabhu has joined us. Hare Krishna. And he's saying, sweet grandmotherly love and smile that lasts. Sureshwarī Didi Jai. From Madhava Prabhu on Facebook. And Anupa Krishna Prabhu has joined us also from near Italy here. Now, Croatia or Slovenia, I know they're all different places. Now I have to be careful not to get the wrong place, so I better say near Italy, one of those smaller countries that emerged over the last years after I was traveling in those countries many years ago. It used to be Yugoslavia and then became different countries in course of time. So Anupa Krishna Prabhu, happy to have you with us too. Yes, I have been chatting away and I'm always saying yes, as Praneshwari said at the beginning. Croatia, okay, Anupa Krishna Prabhu, Croatia, I got the right country. But planet Earth, we'll settle also for planet Earth. All of the country identification, but it is hard to leave it, we know. Hare Krishna. So yes, so as Praneshwari reminded us, anything in your pockets, some treasures of devotion in your pockets. And in the meantime, also Rupa Vilas Prabhu has joined us, Bhagavan Prabhu has joined us, Ekadashi Devidasi of Tomsk in Siberia has joined us. And I think everybody else we said, and Priyanana and Devidasi from Thailand joined us. Maybe we didn't say our greetings there, but certainly acknowledged. So dandavats to all who joined us in the course of time. And if you want to know about time, Srimad Bhagavatam has mind-blowing understanding or achintya, understanding, inconceivable. There's a contradiction. Inconceivable understanding about time. Just to knock home that how little do we know about where we live. But what we do know is, it's our opportunity to chant Hare Krishna and go home, to engage in the Yuga Dharma, the Yuga Yagya of Kali Yuga, the chanting of the names of Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, anybody would like to put up a hand and reveal what is in your pocket? Rupa Vilas Prabhu in Manila. Prabhu, yes. But don't forget, you need to unmute your microphone.
Yes, Dandavat to everyone from the devotees around the world. Good morning from the Philippines. First of all, I heard the passing away of a great devotee, and it really saddened us. But previous to that, many days ago, I was also confronted with that kind of situation by some devotee who had asked me regarding about the passing away of those who are beloved to us. And I would like to share this quotation from our Sri Gurudev. It's in the book Dignity of the Divine Servitor, on the chapter Fortunate Indeed. And Srila Gurudev Bhakti Sundar Gurudev Goswami says this about the sad news of separation from a dear Vaishnava. And it says, the news of a Vaishnava's disappearance, and therefore our separation from him, is very painful. But everything happens by the will of Krishna. Therefore, we must tolerate and continue to steadily proceed towards our transcendental destination. Many adverse things may happen on the battlefield, but with the order of a general, a good soldier must proceed. We actually have no other way than try to proceed. Yes, that's so much.
Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Yes, Prabhu. And Gurudev had much experience. So many. He saw the Guru Maharaj's generation of devotees passing away. He saw so many of Guru Maharaj's disciples passing away. The disciples of the was it cousin disciples passing away. He was very, very aware of that sadness in separation of the devotees. Jai Gurudev, beautiful quote that you came up with. Yes, and anything to reveal in the hand of any other devotee? Please put up your hand. Reveal in the pocket. You've all got something. You're all very humble, I know. Kumkum's got something more to say to us. Or maybe not. Your microphone, yes.
I was just sending a note to ask Sureshwarī Didi, who has quite a few and also could easily do this, to share a photo of Sureshwarī Didi.
Right. Hare Krishna.
While I look for it, can we hear from you again and from Paramananda, please?
Yes, please let us allow Paramanand Prabhu, not allow, but give this opportunity to Paramanand Prabhu, because I know maybe he's sitting on his hands so that he doesn't put that one up, giving an opportunity for everyone to reveal something. But Paramanand Prabhu, your pockets are full of treasures. Please, one treasure for us.
Maharaj, on today's theme, we should remember how Mahaprabhu asked what is the most painful experience. in this world. And Ramananda Rai immediately answered that the separation from the devotee of the Lord is the most painful. So that we cannot take away. No doubt it is very painful, regardless of how much association you had with the Vaishnava. Just the fact that this person faithfully served our Divine Master is already enough for that to consider. But really, they are occupying a whole different dimension, whole different position. It's not a regular conditioned soul, we can say. A regular conditioned soul, like Rupa Goswami describes, is swept somewhere and floating somewhere in the infinite ocean of frustration, swept by the tide of hallucination. This is a regular situation. So a Bhagyavan Jiv, not a very fortunate Jiv. But we're focused on the Bhagyavan Jiv, because really, when we're speaking of Vaishnavas, the all Bhagyavan Jiv. How much is another thing? So they are swimming in the sea of seva, swept by the tide of dedication. It's a whole different plane of existence. So like everybody mentioned, the loss is ours. We lost association, but in the same time, we gain something. Unfortunately, due to our excessive familiarity, we're unable to properly glorify and sometimes properly notice and see the good qualities and seva of the Vaishnavas around us. This is our unfortunate situation, my unfortunate situation. I better speak for myself. So we are to remind ourselves what was the life, what was the essence of life of the Vaishnava? What did they live for? And that will give us a lot of hope and a lot of inspiration. So like we say, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur expressed it, while living, Vaishnavas are teaching by their example. And when they left, they're living in the holy name. It is true. So they're always, eternally, will be the source of our inspiration, and we'll be aspiring to join them one day in their eternal service. There is no doubt about it. They're going in a place we can only dream of, hope for, aspire for, but they're already there. Why? It's stated in so many scriptures, and we have no reason to doubt it. The one who found the place in the heart of the Vaishnava is the resident of Goloka. That Vaishnava will always stay in that kind of company and go to that kind of place. There is also no doubt. And really, Sureshwarī Didi and so many other Vaishnavas. I think I would say Gurudev personally would come to take them there. And we hear so many times about how much Gurudev appreciated Sureshwarī Didi's cooking. There's a famous story when Srila Gurudev and everybody is sitting and waiting for Gurudev to say something during the darshan, and Gurudev is silent thinking of something. And then somebody else goes, "Oh, Gurudev, you must have think about something very deep." And I said, "Oh, I'm ashamed to admit, I am thinking about Sureshwari's breakfast in SoCal. How wonderful it is." I had a little interaction, but when Sureshwarī Didi was in India, and I remember I just got the news that I'm supposedly have to avoid gluten. I brought this news to Gurudev, and he said, "Oh, Prabhu, I'm very sorry, but you can always have some muri." That was his description. Sureshwari was there, and immediately she volunteered, "Oh, Prabhu, I can just cook for you. I know how to cook gluten-free things, don't worry." And I was so, how to say, not ashamed, but humbled by that. I mean, really, she's a very senior Vaishnavi. Why would she serve someone like me? Why would she waste her time on me? But she sincerely wished so. And even though I refused, still she cooked, and she will bring some snacks and some nice things, of course, offer to the Lord. And I would honor them. Really a super grandmotherly, motherly, and very affectionate, the personification of affection. There are some devotees who personify different qualities. I can say that Sureshwarī Didi always personified affection. Anyhow, so we are to honor the Vaishnava by glorifying the Vaishnava, but like Madhusudan Maharaj mentioned, and mentioned so many times, we are to learn how to appreciate Vaishnavas around us who are still living, who are still in this world, and learn how to glorify their service properly, their good qualities properly. And we have to learn how to overlook not so good qualities in our eyes. And I have to say, most of those qualities are actually our bad qualities that we have. And somehow we're unable to deal with that. So we have to overlook that and always focus on sentiments, devotional sentiments, the service aspiration, the enthusiasm, the devotion of everybody around us. And I'm seeing Brinda, that's another good example of devotion to Guru, really. And I observe it on so many occasions. So I guess she inherited it from Sureshwarī, her mother, her father, brothers, and all other devotees, and of course from Srila Gurudev. Jai Srila. Shri Sureshwarī Didi ki Jai.
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 And a beautiful picture that you sent us. Hare Krishna. And there is a question here from Sureshwarī in South Africa. And also Sureshwarī Didi in Mexico joined us, by the way. So happily you joined us earlier. I think I didn't specifically mention you. Please excuse if I don't specifically mention someone. We don't always see all the boxes coming up. Dandavat to you, Didi. But from Sureshwarī Didi in South Africa, she's asking, please explain why this planetary system is important to take birth in, that even the demigods are lining up. Hare Krishna. Yes, Hare Krishna. You've heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You've heard that he is Krishna and Radharani combined. You've heard that he's distributing the holy name infused with Krishna prema, absolute topmost love of Krishna, love of God. And have you heard that he's distributing that freely to everybody, and even especially the fallen souls, whether fallen into Mayavad, whether fallen in the material world, intoxication, this, that, and the other with Jagai and Madai, however fallen, then Mahaprabhu, Radha and Krishna combined come to distribute that, and especially through his agent of Nityananda Prabhu. Agent means self-same form coming to serve him, them, coming to serve Radha Krishna as Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu saying, take the name of Gauranga and I will be sold to you. Now all this took place on planet Earth, Bhumi, the middle part of the planetary system. And hence this news, even without this news, the gods, the sages amongst the gods, those who are wise in the upper planetary systems, they pray to take their birth in Kali Yuga due to the power of the holy name of the Lord, like a very simple process. But in this age, this time when Mahaprabhu has just been here, then Mahaprabhu, as we mentioned during the Janmashtami time, it was Avatari Krishna and Avatari Gauranga. They have come here themselves to distribute these highest things to everybody. So the question is, why would the wise souls not be queuing up to come here? And why, when we are here, will we not be focused in our pursuit of the chanting of the name, making ourselves into good receivers and doing all the things we've been advised to do? So from a distance, they are seeing the great fortune of planet Earth. We are here on planet Earth. So sometimes maybe we should bounce a signal up to the higher planetary system, see their angle of view, and then see, oh, we are here, and make the most of this time that we have here. And everything else, whatever it may be, which is non-Krishna centered, non-devotional centered, if we cannot be developing Krishna consciousness, then all other things, they are extremely temporary and reactionary. This is the other thing. very reactionary. And everywhere we get this in the books and teachings, the shlokas, the words of our masters. Hare Krishna. So, and there is that verse, there's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam about those on the higher planetary systems who are wise. They want to take their birth here. And we have read it fairly recently because we've been going through Srimad Bhagavatam, but it's a slow process because there's a lot of Srimad Bhagavatam to go through. But we're doing this in the gathering of devotees. Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam with the commentaries, etc. Hare Krishna. And it is good to look from another point of view sometimes. And in this case too, not to lament when the opportunity has gone and think, oh, why didn't I use my life properly? But to utilize while we are alive our opportunity. And interestingly, we're always alive. When we leave our body, we're alive. So we need to be utilizing our consciousness in Krishna consciousness, trying the best we can. Hare Krishna. A devotional advertisement or advertisement in America, post, we can imagine what the devotional advertisement would be in the heavenly planets travel guide or something. Why go to planet Earth at this time? But this is not a mundane travel guide. Be sure there's nothing to see in this world as from mundane point of view. It's only definitely the varieties of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and varieties of birth, death, old age, and disease. Hare Krishna. So spiritual traveling will only be of interest to those in the upper plane. To go somewhere, to go to a holy place, holy time, holy persons, holy activities, holy, 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 holy. Hare Krishna. And whatever we can capture, whatever we can recognize, we must hold on to that. And yes, it may not be everything, but it is something. We are going in the right direction. Hare Krishna. Paramananda Prabhu, do you know that sloka about those in the heavenly planets who are wise?
Not that particular, but there are two that can mirror the sentiments. One is predicting Mahaprabhu's appearance, Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sangopan Gastu Parshadam, Yagyai Sankirtana Praya Yagyaitihi Sumethasa. Those who are supremely intelligent will come and join Mahaprabhu. Krishna himself, who comes, but he doesn't look, he is not of a dark color. So it is a hidden avatar. They're not mentioning what color in that particular verse, but he will start a Sankirtan movement. And those who are smart, supremely smart, they will join. And these are a statement, not just for this particular planet, but for the whole universe and universes. And then on Kali Yuga, Maharaj, you know that verse, Kaler Doshanid Herajam.
They all know this verse.
Yes, Pasti Eho Mahaguna, Kirtanat Eva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Paramrajit. So those who are Mukta Sangha Paramrajit, so they will move in that direction. Kirtanat Eva Krishnasya. They will join the Kirtan, this chanting of the holy name. And in Kali Yuga, it is mentioned in this verse, there are so many faults and so many bad qualities, but there is one quality that overcasts and cancels all the bad qualities of Kali Yuga. The chants joining Sankirtan of Mahaprabhu in chanting the holy name of the Lord. So this is your expressway ticket to Galoka. And the only thing you have to remember, have some faith, have some good sadhu sangha, practice, serve, avoid 10 offenses. And then in a matter of, not even time, we're not speaking of time. In a split, I don't know, we're always thinking, trying to measure things in a split of a second, a moment. You will find yourself in Galoka Vrindavan. You will not even notice how it will happen. But there's some rules and regulations you have to follow. So this is why everybody is lining up. So this is Guru Maharaj. And I remember Gurudev, he said, how do we know who is entering the gate of the mat? He may be a newcomer, but what is his capacity? What is his future potential? Maybe he's a Mahabhagavata Vaishnava, maybe he came from the upper planets and he's just coming here to receive Mahaprabhu gift. So we should always be humble, be tolerant, and always give honor to everyone around us. We don't know who they are. And this will be our position that will supremely benefit us, first of all. So many things can come from that. Anyhow, Maharaj, these two verses. But there is a verse, particular verse, stating that demigods are lining up to come on this planet during this particular time.
And out of particular times, again, we can stress, look at what happened after Mahaprabhu. Almost lost, at least basically untraceable to most people. Where is that current coming from Mahaprabhu? I mean, in a public sense, so much so that when Bhaktivinoda Thakur appeared in the 19th century, then practically Mahaprabhu's teaching was almost lost, like completely hidden. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur recognized what is there. Of course, he has his Leela, but they're in particular coming to kickstart the wave of Krishna consciousness, which Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur so purely showed what is this Krishna consciousness, what is the message of Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Krishna
and
consciousness.
What is not Krishna consciousness.
And yes, and so much he showed what is not Krishna conscious. And when Mahaprabhu says that if one will read the commentary of Shankaracharya, then he must be polluted. Then why will we go? He must be spoiled, whatever the translation of the word was. Then why should our inquisitive devotees go there to read those commentaries? We should never think, oh, we are so strong that, oh yes, out of interest, I'll go and read what is there. What we need to know, as much as we need to know, is given by Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj and Gurudev. But you see how easily influenced we are as Jiva souls, not as individually we're saying, but Jiva souls can be influenced in so many ways. So Shiva as Shankaracharya, then he's very capable to influence everybody. So let us not lose our fortune that we're coming to also.
Also not to challenge Maya. And Krishna warns us in Bhagavad Gita, since we've been speaking of Bhagavad Gita. Daivi hesha gunamahi mama maya duratya mam evam ye prapadyanti mayamitam tarantite. He said, do not challenge Maya. It is impossible to overcome her power. Only if you surrender at my lotus feet. There, she has no power. So this is the only way. So once we challenge the Maya, immediately we get reaction. She is a great servitor of the Lord, and she is also very competitive in her service, and she is the best. So not to challenge. Take a humble shelter at the lotus feet of the Vaishnava.
Hare Krishna, and welcome to Tanmay. Tanmay saying Hari Bol Maharaj. Yes, Hare Krishna. Welcome. All right. From my side, I need to slip away. I'm happy to leave you all together if you have things to say. I'm sure devotees do have things to say. from my side, I need to slip away today. The world goes on, and wishing you all successful progress in the world as the world goes on. Stay holding on safely at the lotus feet of Krishna, Mahaprabhu, the Vaishnavas, and the instructions they've given to us for our safe service life, as Paramanandu just presented to you. And they're headed by serving, glorifying, recognizing the devotees, and not making any offense, judgment, etc. about devotees in particular. We just accept all kinds of nature, but we go on in the devotee association, not in the association of the mundane coverings and external show. That's one thing, but the devotee part of every devotee, that treasure which is there, we must appreciate that everywhere. Dear devotees, so Jai Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rockok Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, and Jai Vishwareni Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai, and Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. This wonderful age that we are in, not only the general age, the specific time that we are in, and opportunity that we all have. To this wonderful opportunity, ki Jai. And to all our Sri Chaitanya Saraswat, our Acharya Vrinda ki Jai, and to Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda, unlimited devotees ki Jai. And to all of you here on Facebook and on Zoom, and those who see also presently, our obeisances to you all, and obeisances to all the devotees. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And of course today, especially we must remember Sureshwarī Didi and her glories, and Sureshwarī Didi ki Jai. And may she indeed remember us all here who are still in our bodies in this world. Jai Sureshwarī Didi.
Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai.
With your permission,
Jai.
slipping away quietly.
Thank you so much.